Sometimes, the loudest battles you will ever face are the silent ones within your soul. The world tells you to hustle, chase, force your way into rooms that weren't built with you in mind, and yet something deeper inside you whispers, "Be still. This is not your path." You've been told that movement equals progress, that striving equals success, and that if you're not always pushing forward, you're falling behind. But now, in this sacred moment, God is asking you to pause, to listen, to remember, because you were not created to chase. You were created to attract through alignment. And even more than that, you were created to receive through grace. Let this message find your spirit exactly where it's needed. And if it speaks to you, I invite you to share your wisdom in the comments. Someone else may need the reminder you've already lived through. Tag or share this with a soul who's been trying to force open a door that God already sealed for their protection. And if you feel led to support this channel, you'll find donation details in the comments. Every offering helps us keep spreading divine truth into the noise of the world. Welcome. You've stepped into a prophetic space, not of noise, but of knowing. This is not a motivational slogan. It's a spiritual announcement. God said you already won. Not you will win. Not you might win. Not if you do more, push harder, prove yourself, then you'll win. No, you already have. In a dimension higher than the one you see, your victory has already been signed, sealed, and delivered. You are simply walking out what heaven already declared. So why does it still feel hard? Why do you feel stuck? Why do you question if you're even on the right path? Because the enemy doesn't attack what's empty. He only comes after what's anointed. Your struggle is not a sign of your weakness. It's a signal of your calling. Right now, you are being stretched, not punished, but positioned. And yes, it feels like waiting. It feels like delay. But in truth, it is divine preservation. Because God will never let you enter a room before you're equipped to own it. He will never give you a crown if you're still begging for thrones that were never meant to carry your light. There's a reason some doors aren't opening. There's a reason some people ghosted you. There's a reason the job didn't come through, the relationship didn't heal, the opportunity fell through. Because it was not the blessing, it was the test. You were never supposed to chase what drains you. You were supposed to evolve until the things that align with your highest self find you. There is power in the stillness you've been avoiding. There is clarity in the quiet that terrifies you. Because when you stop chasing, you start receiving. When you stop running, you start rising. And the moment you stopped fighting for validation, the moment you stopped begging to be chosen, that's the moment heaven whispered, "Now you're ready." This isn't the end of your story. It's the breaking of old cycles, the unraveling of ego, the soft death of the version of you that thought you had to earn what God already ordained. Beloved, you don't chase when you've already been called. You don't beg when you know your inheritance is already being delivered. You don't knock on doors God burned down to protect your destiny. You remember who you are and whose you are. You carry yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with authority. Because this isn't about proving your worth anymore. This is about walking like it's already done. The reason the pressure has been increasing is not because you're failing, but because you're close. Close to the moment where everything shifts. Close to the encounter that changes everything. Close to the divine revelation that makes it all make sense. But here's the mystery. Before the light breaks through, the darkness always screams louder. Not because it's stronger, but because it knows its time is up. The attacks on your mind, the discouragement, the fatigue, the confusion, it's all been strategic. The enemy doesn't fear your hustle. He fears your awakening. He fears the moment you stop chasing what's not meant for you and start embodying the truth that was planted in you before birth. You are not here to compete. You are here to complete. To complete the mission, the vision, the frequency that only you were sent to carry. And the more you try to mold yourself to what this world calls success, the further you drift from the divine strategy that already guaranteed your win. God didn't say strive, God said stand. God didn't say chase, God said trust. God didn't say blend in, God said be set apart. And maybe the loneliness you've been feeling isn't isolation. Maybe it's sanctification. Maybe it's God pulling you away from the noise so you can finally hear Him clearly. Because where you're going, you cannot afford distractions dressed as support. Your anointing is too rare. Your future is too weighty. Your influence is too sacred. And heaven will strip you of anything that contaminates that promise, even if it looks like rejection. Let it fall away. Let the things that are not meant to go with you be released, without clinging, without bargaining. Because what you let go of today will make room for what's being delivered tomorrow. Some of you are still grieving the doors God closed, still mourning the chapters He ended, still questioning the worth of your journey because it doesn't look like theirs. But here's the revelation. Your blueprint was never meant to look like theirs. Your timing was never meant to match theirs. Your glow-up was never going to be ordinary. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to shift atmospheres. You were never meant to chase approval. You were meant to carry presence. And when God anoints a person, He hides them first. He isolates them, refines them, tests them in fire until all that is left is the truth of who they are. So if you've been feeling hidden, overlooked, forgotten, you're not being punished. You're being protected. The spotlight will come, yes, but not until your soul is rooted deep enough to stand in it without burning out. God is more interested in your foundation than your followers. He's more invested in your integrity than your income. He's not just preparing a platform. He's building your capacity to hold what's coming. You're not late. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, in a divine timeline that does not bow to human clocks. The doors you once knocked on with trembling hands will soon open on their own. The tables that ignored your voice will beg for your presence. Not because you chased them, but because you became the version of yourself who doesn't need them. Your glow-up won't be announced. It will be undeniable. Your rise won't be forced. It will be foretold. Because God's hand is on you. And what He declares, no man can delay. You see, what the world calls delay is often just divine disguise. You haven't missed the train. You've been placed on a higher track. One where things don't move according to deadlines, but by divine alignment. And when that alignment clicks into place, it will seem as though everything happens all at once. That's how heaven moves. Suddenly. Quiet preparation. Loud fulfillment. Years of silence followed by a roar that no one can ignore. But you must remember this. The breakthrough doesn't begin when people finally see you. It begins when you finally see yourself. When you stop doubting your gifts. When you stop second-guessing your voice. When you realize that the very things that made you feel like an outsider are the things that mark you as divine property. God's chosen are rarely the loudest in the room, but they carry a stillness that shakes foundations. They carry revelation, not just information. And that's why you've felt different your whole life. That's why you've walked into rooms and sensed what others could not. That's why you've wrestled with a weight of purpose that couldn't be explained with logic. You were born to awaken others, but first, God had to awaken you. No, your life hasn't been easy. But easy lives rarely make eternal impact. You've had to cry in secret, battle in silence, walk away from people you loved, and still show up with grace. But that grace? It's not weakness. It's evidence. Evidence that God has been with you in every season. Evidence that you were called before the chaos ever began. Evidence that you're not just surviving, you're becoming. So stop chasing what is already yours in the Spirit. Your abundance is already flowing, even if it hasn't manifested yet. Your relationships, your calling, your platform, your peace, they are already written into your timeline. God is not negotiating your destiny. He's already sealed it. All you must do now is rest in the knowing. Rest, not as in laziness or idleness, but in alignment. Do what you're called to do, yes, but do it from a place of overflow, not desperation. Do it with the calm of someone who knows the victory is already secured. You're not climbing toward your breakthrough. You're unfolding into it. Every act of faith is a signal. Every time you choose peace over panic, you affirm heaven's word over your life. Every time you say no to what's not for you, you say yes to divine inheritance. And beloved, your inheritance is rich, not just in material things, but in authority, in joy, in divine protection. You have angels assigned to you. You have doors that no man can shut. You have favor that no system can override. And when the world finally catches up to what God has already declared, they'll call it luck. They'll call it timing. But you'll know it was prophecy fulfilled. So keep walking with your head high. Keep trusting when it makes no sense. Keep loving even when it's not returned. And most of all, stop chasing things that were never meant to be pursued. You don't have to run. What's yours is already en route. The world will tell you to grind. God says, align. The world says, hustle for it. God says, prepare for it. Because when the appointed time comes, and it will, you'll see that the wait was never a punishment. It was your greatest protection. There's a reason your spirit has been feeling stirred lately. Not in panic, but in anticipation. As if something is moving in your favor, just beyond the veil of the visible. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. Your spirit recognizes what your eyes can't see yet. It knows the sound of breakthrough. It knows the rhythm of divine reversal. It knows that what has been held back is about to be released without resistance. But in order to receive what's next, you have to unclench your grip from what was. This is not the season to beg for doors to open. It's the time to thank God for every door He closed. Because what you thought was rejection was really redirection. Every person who walked away made room for the one who's coming with blessing in their hands. Every opportunity that dried up cleared the path for your true assignment to rise. Do not chase what was never meant to carry your destiny. Do not mourn things that were never anointed to multiply in your life. God does not require you to prove yourself to the world. He simply calls you to believe. Believe that what's coming is not just better, it's yours. Ordained. Set apart. Tailored for your exact heart, your exact wounds, your exact purpose. It's time you stop waiting to feel worthy and start living like the promise is real. Because the moment you shift internally, the world around you will begin to echo that decision. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will flow toward you. Resources will find you in the wilderness. Not because you chased them, but because you trusted the source. Let this truth settle in your soul. You're already on the winning side. The scoreboard of the Spirit has declared your victory long before the physical game began. This isn't about if you'll win, it's about when you'll realize you already have. And from that awareness comes peace. You no longer have to force. You no longer have to convince anyone of your worth. You no longer have to drain your energy chasing approval, opportunities, or love. Instead, you become a beacon. You radiate something the world cannot replicate: authentic authority. The kind that doesn't shout, but shifts atmospheres. The kind that doesn't chase, but attracts what's aligned. So this is your charge, your prophetic reminder. Stand tall in stillness. Be bold in obedience. And walk like one who has already received what they once prayed for. Because God has spoken, and His word does not return void. He said you already won. Not when you become someone else. Not when you reach a certain milestone. No, as you are. With what you have. The blessing is in motion. It's no longer about chasing. It's about receiving. The season of striving is over. The season of overflow is here. Now breathe, smile, rest, and prepare. Not because you must earn it, but because it's on its way. You've already won, chosen one. Heaven is just waiting for you to walk like it.